Niti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We will continue our discussion on Ashtanga Yoga. We were discussing about the different mystic perfections, siddhis. So in the Srimad-Bhagavatam, there is a description in the 11th canto that there are 8 primary mystic perfections, 8 primary siddhis. I mentioned this yesterday. Anima, becoming smaller than the smallest. Mahima, becoming greater than the greatest. Laghima, becoming lighter than the lightest. Prapti, one acquires whatever one desires. Prakamya, one experiences any enjoyable object. Ishita, one can manipulate the sub-potencies of Maya. Vashita, one is unimpeded by the 3 gunas. Kama Vasayita, one can obtain anything from anywhere. So these are the 8 siddhis which are quite popularly known. Ashta Siddhi, 8 siddhis. These are the primary mystic perfections. Then there are 10 secondary mystic perfections. 10 other secondary mystic perfections. What are they? I'll just read them out. The powers of freeing oneself from hunger and thirst and other bodily disturbances. Anurmi matvam dehesmin. That's a Sanskrit for that. The second one, Dura Shravanam, hearing things far away. The third one, Dura Darshanam, seeing things far away. The fourth one, Manojavaha, moving the body at the speed of the mind. The fifth one, Kama Rupam, assuming any form one desires. The sixth one, Parakaya Praveshanam, entering the bodies of others. The seventh one, Swachanda Mrityu, dying when one desires. The eighth one, Devanam Sahakrida Anudarshanam, witnessing the pastimes between Devatas and Apsaras. The ninth one, Yatha Sankalpa Samsiddhi, completely executing one's determination. And the 10th one, Agnya Pratihata Gatihi, which means giving orders whose fulfillment is unimpeded. So, these are the 10 secondary mystic perfections. Then there are 5 additional auxiliary perfections. The first one is Trikalajnatvam, the power to know past, present and future. The second one in this list of 5 auxiliary perfections, Advandvam, tolerance of heat, cold and other such dualities. The third one, Parachitta Abhijnata, knowing the minds of others. The fourth one, Agni, Arka, Ambu, Visha, Adinam, Pratishtambha, checking the influence of fire, sun, water, poison and so on. The fifth one, the last one, Aparajayaha, remaining unconquered by others. So, totally there are 23 different kinds of mystic perfections or siddhis. 8 primary, 10 secondary, 5 auxiliary. So yesterday we discussed about 2 different pastimes illustrating the anima and laghima. Today I shall describe a pastime in which the Mahima siddhi is illustrated. Mahima siddhi is becoming big or very large. There was a demon by name Trinavarta who came to attack baby Krishna. This demon tried to use the Mahima siddhi to carry away Krishna. So the pastime is described in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam. One day, a year after Krishna's appearance, that means Krishna's first birthday, Mother Yashoda was patting her son on her lap. Suddenly she felt the child to be heavier than a mountain peak, and she could no longer bear his weight. Feeling the child to be as heavy as the entire universe and therefore being anxious, thinking perhaps that the child was attacked by some other ghost or demon, the astonished Mother Yashoda put the child on the ground and began to think of the Supreme Lord Narayana. Foreseeing disturbances, she called for the Brahmanas to counteract this heaviness, and then she engaged in other household affairs. She had no other alternative than to remember the lotus feet of Lord Narayana, for she could not understand that Krishna was the original source of everything. Mother Yashoda just thought of child Krishna as her beloved son, that's all. While the child was sitting on the ground, now what had Krishna done actually? Krishna had used the Mahima siddhi to become very heavy. Mother Yashoda did not realize that. While baby Krishna was sitting on the ground, a demon named Trinavarta, who was a servant of Kamsa, came there as a whirlwind, disguised as a whirlwind, at Kamsa's instigation, and very easily he carried away baby Krishna into the air. Covering the whole land of Gokula with particles of dust, that demon, acting as a strong whirlwind, covered everyone's vision and began vibrating everywhere with a greatly fearful sound. For a moment, the whole pasturing ground was overcast with dense darkness from the dust storm, and Mother Yashoda was unable to find her son where she had placed him. Because of the bits of sand thrown about by Trinavarta, people could not see themselves or anyone else, and thus they were illusioned and disturbed. Because of the dust storm stirred up by the strong whirlwind, Mother Yashoda could find no trace of her son, nor she could understand what was actually going on. Thus she fell down to the ground and began to lament very pitifully. When the force of the dust storm and the wind subsided, Yashoda's friends, the other gopis, approached Mother Yashoda, hearing her pitiful crying. Not seeing Krishna present, they too felt very much aggrieved and joined Mother Yashoda in crying, their eyes full of tears. Having assumed the form of a forceful whirlwind, the demon Trinavarta took Krishna very high in the sky. But when Krishna started becoming heavy, then the demon could not go any further. Krishna became heavier than the demon. The demon had used Mahima siddhi to come in the form of this whirlwind. But Krishna, he is the master of all mystic powers. He is the source of all mystic powers. So he used his personal mystic power and he became heavier than the demon. So the demon could not go any further. So when somebody competes with Krishna, nobody can compete with Krishna. Somebody tries, then they are invariably defeated. They don't realize that whatever power they have is a small fragment of the unlimited power possessed by Krishna. That they do not know. People do not know generally. Krishna is called Yogeshwara. In the Bhagavad Gita, Sanjaya refers to Krishna as Yogeshwara. Yogeshwara means the master of all mystic powers. Because of Krishna's weight, Trinavarta considered this child to be like a great mountain. Because Krishna had caught the demon's neck, the demon was unable to throw him off. Therefore, he thought of the child as wonderful, and he could neither bear the child nor cast aside the burden. With Krishna grasping the demon's throat, Trinavarta choked, unable to make even a sound or even move his hands and legs. His eyes popping out, the demon lost his life and fell along with the little boy, Krishna, down on the ground of Raja, on the ground of Gokula. While the gopis who had gathered were crying for Krishna, the demon fell from the sky onto a big slab of stone, his limbs dislocated as if he had been pierced by some powerful weapon. The gopis immediately picked Krishna up from the chest of the demon and delivered him free from all inauspiciousness to Mother Yashoda. Because the child, although taken into the sky by the demon, was unhurt and now free from all danger and misfortune, the gopis and cowherd men headed by Nanda Maharaj were extremely happy. It is most astonishing that although this innocent child was taken away by the Rakshasa to be eaten, this child has returned without being killed or even injured, because this demon was envious, cruel, and sinful. He has been killed for his own sinful activities. This is what Nanda Maharaj was thinking. An innocent devotee is always protected by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and a sinful person is always vanquished for a sinful life. So, Krishna exhibited this Mahima Siddhi, which the demon tried to use to take away Krishna and kill the small baby. Then there is the Prakamya Siddhi. Prakamya Siddhi means by this power one can achieve anything one likes. For example, one can make water enter his eyes and then again make that same water come out from within the eye. Simply by his will, a yogi who has got this particular siddhi can perform such wonderful activities. The fifth siddhi among the 8 primary mystic perfections, Prapti Siddhi. A yogi can touch the moon with his finger. Though the modern astronauts go to the moon with the help of spaceships, they undergo many difficulties. But a yogi with mystic perfection can extend his hand and touch the moon with his finger. Not only that, the yogi can, sitting in one place, extend his hand thousands of miles away, and if he likes, he can take a fruit from a garden which is thousands of miles away. This is Prapti Siddhi. The sixth one, Ishita Siddhi. Ishita Siddhi means the yogi can create an entire planet simply by his will, and he can also destroy such a planet he has created. Then the seventh one is Vashita Siddhi. By this perfection, one can bring anyone under his control. This is a kind of hypnotism which is almost irresistible. Sometimes it is found that a yogi who may have a little perfection in this Vashita Siddhi, he comes among common people, speaks all sorts of nonsense, controls their mind, exploits them, takes their money, and just goes away. So, this is the Vashita Siddhi. The last one in this list of Ashta Siddhis, Kama Vasayita Siddhi. This is the highest perfection of all the mystic powers. This is also a kind of magic. Whereas Prakamya power is used for producing effects within the scope of nature, Kama Vasayita permits one to contradict nature. One can, of course, derive great amounts of temporary happiness or cheat innocent, ordinary people, common people, by using such perfections. But none of them can actually help the yogi to overcome death. None of them can help the yogi get lasting happiness. All of them are useless when it comes to solving the fundamental miseries of material existence. It's also explained in the scriptures that these 8 mystic potencies originally exist in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna, in the superlative degree. Krishna has unlimited powers. And Krishna has not only these 8 mystic powers to an unlimited extent, but he has unlimited powers themselves. Lord Krishna becomes so small that he enters within every atom of this entire universe. He enters every atom, mind you. And he becomes so large that as Mahavishnu, he can breathe out universes. Within Mahavishnu's body are billions and billions of universes. Each universe having millions and billions of planets. That's how large Mahavishnu actually assumes a form. Then the Lord can become so light or so subtle that even the greatest of mystic yogis cannot perceive his presence in this world. He keeps the entire existence eternally within his body. That's Krishna's greatness. He can certainly enjoy whatever he likes. He does control all energies. And his energies are unlimited. He dominates everyone completely, absolutely. He exhibits omnipotency. All kinds of powers are within his control. So therefore, it is explained that whatever mystic power any yogi possesses is actually a tiny, insignificant part of the power possessed by Krishna. Originally, all these mystic powers are always present in the Supreme Lord Krishna only. Regarding the secondary mystic perfections, the power of freeing oneself from hunger and thirst and other bodily disturbances, this generally is used by yogis so that they can perform their meditation without any disturbance due to hunger or thirst or fatigue, etc. Dura Shravanam, hearing things far away. And the next one, Dura Darshanam, seeing things far away. These siddhis can be used by devotees even. Just like Sanjaya, who was secretary to Dhritarashtra. Sanjaya was seated in Hastinapura along with Dhritarashtra in Dhritarashtra's palace. And the battle of Kurukshetra was being fought in Kurukshetra. So Sanjaya was able to see what's going on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And Sanjaya was also able to hear what is going on in the battlefield on the Kurukshetra. This mystic power was possessed by Sanjaya with the blessings of his guru Vyasadeva. Even Vyasadeva was able to hear the entire conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, even though Vyasadeva was not in Kurukshetra. He was able to completely hear and see what was going on in Kurukshetra. Manojavaha, moving the body at the speed of the mind. Bhakta Hanuman, Anjaneya, he is having this particular mystic power. In fact, devotees have all the 8 mystic powers, all the 8 primary and the 10 secondary mystic powers that devotees have. Hanuman can actually move at the speed of the mind. In fact, there is a prayer to Hanuman, Manojavam Maruta Tulya Vegam Jitendriyam Buddhimatam Varishtham Vatatmajam Vanarayuth Mukyam Sri Ramadutam Shirasanaman. So he is called Manojava. He can move the body at the speed of the mind. Kama Rupam, assuming any form one desires. Some of the demons who came to kill Krishna, like Putana, she had this mystic power. Kama Rupam. She assumed the form of a very, very pleasing, beautiful nurse, Dhatri, when she came to actually kill Krishna. She looked like the goddess of fortune, but actually she was the most wicked and cruel demoness who had come to kill Krishna. So Kama Rupam, assuming any form one desires. Even Hanuman has this mystic power. When he was entering Lanka, Hanuman assumed the form of a very, very small, tiny person. And when he had to jump over Lanka, he assumed a very, very, very big form. Parakaya Praveshanam, entering the bodies of others. Yesterday we heard how Indra, he entered the womb of Diti, his aunt, in order to kill Diti's child within the womb itself, though he was unable to do so. Then the next one, Swachanda Mrityu, dying when one desires. Bhishma had this perfection. So Bhishma could choose the moment of his death. But then we should also know that it is the non-devotees who try to quit the body at an auspicious time by choosing an auspicious moment to quit the body. Devotees need not. That's explained in the 8th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. There are auspicious and inauspicious moments for quitting the body. Whereas devotees don't have to choose, because devotees' destination is fixed. Devotees are going back to the personal abode of Krishna, where we all belong. Devotees go back to Krishna, attain Krishna's abode. All devotees. Whereas non-devotees, if they choose an auspicious moment for their death, then they can transfer themselves to a particular planet which they have got eligibility to enter. So the Swachhanda Mrityu is another secondary mystic perfection. The eighth one, Devanam Sahakridanu Darshanam, witnessing the pastimes between the demigods and the apsaras. This particular perfection is for some yogi who wants to enjoy witnessing such pastimes of the devatas. Then Yatha Sankalpa Samsiddhi, completely executing one's determination. If somebody wants to be very determined to achieve some particular result of some particular endeavor, just like Dhruva Maharaj, he was very determined. So therefore, in 6 months, he was able to perform the severe austerities and have darshan of the Supreme Lord. Of course, Dhruva Maharaj was also blessed by Narada, his guru. But he was also having the determination. He was very, very determined. Narada tried to test Dhruva, but Dhruva would not give up his determination. Then giving orders whose fulfillment is unimpeded. Agnya pratihata gatihi. This is seen in the case of great demigods like Indra, or sometimes Brahma, Lord Shiva. Their orders cannot be, nobody can go against their orders. But then we should also remember that these mystic perfections, the power of these mystic perfections, different yogis possess them to different degrees. And there are instances where there is a competition between the power of this mystic perfection possessed by one person against the power possessed by another person. So we have a nice pastime here of Durvasa Muni. Once he was visiting Duryodhana. Duryodhana was in his palace, and the Pandavas had been sent away to the forest and were in exile. So Duryodhana decided that he will serve Durvasa Muni very nicely and request him to visit the Pandavas for lunch. So the Pandavas had a Akshaya Patra, a special vessel which was gifted by the sun god when they went to the forest for 13 years, Vanavasa. So that Akshaya Patra could produce as much food as they wanted, any quantity, till Draupadi had taken her afternoon lunch. After Draupadi had taken her lunch, then the Akshaya Patra would not give any more food for that day. So every day the Akshaya Patra used to provide enough lunch for the Pandavas and all their guests. And Draupadi used to be the last one to take lunch after all the guests and all the members of her family had been fed with the lunch. So once when Durvasa was visiting Duryodhana, Duryodhana requested, after serving him very, very nicely, when Durvasa was very pleased. So Duryodhana requested this Durvasa to visit the Pandavas in the forest after they had finished their lunch. So his idea was, Duryodhana's plan was somehow they should not be able to, the Pandavas should not be able to feed lunch to Durvasa Muni and all his disciples. And when Durvasa Muni becomes angry, then he can create havoc. So Durvasa Muni agreed to this proposal. He approached King Yudhishthira and the Pandavas in the forest after Draupadi had finished her meal. On his arrival, Yudhishthira received him very well and requested him to go and take a bath in the nearby river. So Durvasa Muni with his large number of disciples went there to take bath in the river. And then when Yudhishthira came back to Draupadi, Draupadi said there is no food available because she has finished her lunch. Then what can Draupadi do? She began to think of Lord Krishna in that position. So Krishna immediately came to Draupadi and asked her what is it that she wanted. So Draupadi explained that they have got guests and Durvasa Muni and his disciples, and they have to be served lunch, but she has finished her meals, so what can they do? So the Krishna said, just give me a little something to eat. So Draupadi said, I have nothing. Then Krishna said, bring that Akshay Patra. Let me see what is there in that. So she brought it, and there was just one grain sticking to the bottom of the pot. And Krishna told Draupadi, give that little grain, that tiny bit of grain that's sticking at the bottom of the pot. She scraped the bottom and took that single grain and gave it to Krishna. Krishna actually partook that one little grain and told Draupadi, now you can invite your guests for lunch. So Bhima went to call the guests, but all the Durvasa Muni and his disciples were feeling as if they had been sumptuously fed. What was the reason? Because when Krishna eats, then everyone can be satisfied simply by Krishna eating and feeling satisfied. So, particularly by Krishna eating to his satisfaction, whatever little Draupadi had given him, Durvasa Muni and his disciples were completely feeling sumptuously fed. So they thought, now Bhima has come to call us. Maybe they have made a lot of food items and it is waiting for us. If we go and we don't take, it will be very bad. So they somehow went away after finishing their bath without coming to the place where the Pandavas were staying. So in this way, Krishna saved the Pandavas by his mystic power. So Krishna's mystic power is the supreme, and in front of others' mystic power, Krishna's mystic power cannot be, or rather Krishna's mystic power is always able to defeat others' mystic power. So that's the instruction, lesson to be learned from this incident. I'll take some questions from yesterday. Krishna always says that, give me the complete fruit of your action. Is there a verse in support of this, of giving certain percentage only of the fruits of our work for the Lord? How can one decide this percentage? I can't think of a verse, but definitely Srila Prabhupada, while explaining in the Bhagavad Gita, one particular verse which says one should sacrifice the results of one's activities to the Supreme Lord. Srila Prabhupada explains, if one cannot give the entire result of one's activities to Krishna, one can give certain percentage. And that will help one to actually progress in Krishna consciousness. Now, how much can one give? That depends on how much you can give. You begin with a very, very small percentage. Whatever small percentage, doesn't matter. And as you go on practicing Krishna consciousness, you'll be able to increase this small percentage to give more to Krishna. In this way, you are able to actually cut down your expenditure on unnecessary things. Materialistic way of life means people are spending money unnecessarily on so many unwanted things. So by giving to Krishna, it's not that Krishna is in need. It is just that Krishna wants us to cut down our wasting money on so many unnecessary things. That's the reason Krishna says, you offer to me. What is the process of approaching a senior devotee in the temple for asking questions or clarifying the doubts? There is no such process. You have to visit the temple and request the devotees to actually help you understand your, clear your doubts. Next question. Although these 4 Kumaras are self-realized, how can they become angry just like a materialist? Well, the Kumaras becoming angry is unprecedented. As also the doorkeepers stopping such qualified great sages like the Kumaras is also unprecedented. So it is explained by the Acharyas who explain this incident. The Acharyas say that actually it is the Lord's will that the doorkeepers stop, and it is the Lord's will that Kumaras become angry at the doorkeepers. So it was part of the Lord's plan. It is fitting within the Lord's pastimes that actually the Lord is always engaged in with his devotees. Next question. Singing bhajans can bring bhakti to our heart and help us in advancement of bhakti yoga. Yes, definitely. Singing bhajans is part of bhakti yoga practice, and it can awaken your devotion to the Supreme Lord. But the bhajans have to be genuine glorification of the Supreme Lord or the great devotees. Therefore, it is recommended that one sing bhajans which are composed by great acharyas. In ISKCON, we sing bhajans generally which are composed by Srila Narottam Das Thakur and Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur, and other great devotees like Lochan Das Thakur, and so many great pure devotees. They have composed so many bhajans, and we sing those bhajans. One can just sing Hare Krishna mantra in any tune, any raga, and in that way also one can actually advance in Krishna consciousness. Regarding the mystic powers, one clarification is very important, that Lord Krishna in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, while describing these mystic powers, he says that a yogi who is interested in ultimate self-realization, he never is interested in any of these mystic perfections. These are all secondary byproduct of the practice of yoga, Ashtanga yoga. They are secondary byproducts. And a yogi is never interested in utilizing these except for some reason like practicing Ashtanga yoga itself. Just like yesterday, I described one incident where one Saubhari Muni, he was trying to practice this meditation by going deep within the water of the Yamuna river. So his idea was to use that power to remain floating in the water by mystic power, so that he will not be distracted. But unfortunately, even within the water, he got distracted by the fishes engaged in sexual affairs. So therefore, he was not successful while doing that kind of meditation under the water. But in any case, yogis, if at all they use the mystic powers, they use it for their own practice of Ashtanga Yoga to progress. Just like the mystic power of being undisturbed by hunger, thirst, etc., or fatigue or sleep. So that is very useful for the yogi, so that the yogi can nicely concentrate his mind or attention on the form of the Lord in the heart and do meditation uninterrupted way. So that is useful. So in that way, the yogi is able to utilize some of the powers or whatever powers only for the sake of ultimate self-realization, and not be carried away by these powers to try to enjoy some material happiness. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.